control. I have control. I have control. Execute.
Welcome, everybody, to a special interview. The man, the myth, the legend, Florida man has made an appearance.
Mr. Andrew Smrecek.
It's funny. I go from you look like a surfer Wolverine to you look like Thor, and now I'm at a golden retriever.
Well, you know, you gotta.
Chris Helmsworth is a golden retriever.
I mean, he's pretty. He's pretty.
Yeah.
Like Chris Hemsworth.
Like, I'm not gay, but
Is he Australian?
yes.
Yes, you.
He has an Australian accent. Your weakness.
Well, you know, there is that whole Margot Robbie thing that I do have a significant.
You still haven't seen Babylon, which is, I don't understand. She's like naked in a lot.
Well, we do have to decide on a movie for tonight.
We did. Rob Roy.
Well, it could be Rob Roy. It could be a movie with Margot Robbie, which is always enjoyable.
There's an elephant in it.
In what?
In Babylon.
In Babylon?
Yeah, and naked people. And like a torrid Hollywood orgy.
I don't want to hang out and watch that stuff with you guys. You know,
He wants to watch that in private.
Sounds good.
He wants to watch that in private.
Andrew's you're more straight edge than I thought you would be.
He is straight
I
edge.
know it is surprising.
He's a Christian fundamentalist.
As long as heated as you get on certain subjects, you're pretty reserved when it comes to.
Watching naked people with my bros isn't a thing I want to do.
Why not? Tell us why.
Don't want to.
What happened in your childhood that made you not want to watch?
Nothing. That's probably why I don't want to watch it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Talk to us about the Paris, Tennessee Police Department.
Guys,
Excellent.
I gave some supervisor there that handles phone calls. Hey,
reason to arrest
maybe you should
for...
do this because I went through some dumb stuff. You know, like just print off a piece of paper that says you owe this much money, mail it to this address because here in Paris, Tennessee, we don't take card payments and we don't answer the phones on these days. They just print off a piece of paper and we're like, send this much money by check, money order, or cash
or carrier
to
pigeon?
This address with the number that's on this part of the paper. That's your ticket number. Then,
See, all it took was for him to get
stuff.
shot during Force on Force today to calm down and lose his pent up rage.
No, I got asked about it enough where I'm not as mad about it. But because it led to a suspended license. I paid the ticket, and it's been a month, and I still can't just have my license back. You know, and
he's a law-abiding citizen.
It's so ridiculous. Like because you've laid out the story to us before.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I think it's such a poignant expose, if you will, into this, like how hard they make it to follow the rules. Like why should we even do it? Because okay, you broke a rule, right? Like some sort of rule in Tennessee.
Yep. I was speeding.
Yeah. You know? Okay. All right. Speeding, but hardly worthy of losing your driving privileges in all states.
Yep.
Because, basically there wasn't an easy way to pay it. There was a mix up with them getting the thing. And then, all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you tried paying them. They said, okay, it is paid, but then they still suspended your license. It's like,
I just found out my license was suspended.
Oh, right,
I was
right.
driving on it.
Nice.
And I found out a month
caught,
ago.
Further.
I could get guns pointed at me.
Yeah. Like that could lead to death.
Yes. Yeah. And I've been driving on a suspended license for 4 months.
Allegedly.
Just
want to say he might have.
Allegedly. He might have.
Don't
he
admit
thought
to
about
crimes.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
He's a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, you didn't get caught in the time. But if you got pulled over during that time, they would have charged you with driving with suspended license.
I drive a lot, so notice I didn't find out because I didn't get pulled over.
Right.
The reason why I got the ticket, I was speeding. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the speed limit. I was coming over a hill.
Oh, I've done that.
And they caught me at the bottom.
Yep.
Where gravity makes you go faster.
Mm-hmm.
I have my family in the car. I don't drive like an asshole.
Right.
He doesn't.
I don't do that in general because I don't want to die.
He actually
like
drives.
A dumbass.
He actually drives far too slow. I can attest to that.
Do I?
No
yes,
such thing.
You do.
I just don't want to die like a dumbass.
I didn't
Right?
say you were right or wrong. I'm just saying you drive slow.
I drive the speed limit, and people say that that's like, sacrilegious or something. I'm like, I don't understand.
People get in way too much of a rush for nothing. Like, how many times have you been cut off for you both to sit at the same red light? And only he's in front of you now.
Yeah, I think they made studies like for people who drive like aggressively and like, at way excessive speeds, they get somewhere like an average of 8 minutes sooner or something. Like, even if it's 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's probably been some situations where I've had some bowel issues that have 8 minutes could mean life or death. But in most cases, I would say that no.
Life or death for the seat in the
maybe for the
vehicle
upholstery.
and clothing. No, but like I do drive on the faster side. Mike can attest to this. He was in the truck with me.
It was my truck.
It was his truck. But he also, I think, realized very quickly, well, before we almost drove over the barriers in the parking lot, but after that point, when he finally calmed down and stopped screaming,
there was none of that.
It was none of that. Anyway, like I'm very comfortable. I've been driving a truck for I don't know how long, and like anything smaller than that is kind of like okay. And I'm very relaxed going 80 miles an hour on the turnpike.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
I know.
Not especially when it's my car and like,
You were fine.
Well, no, it's like so okay, here's my background, right? Like the things that influence my driving habits. Lived in New Jersey my whole life.
And you can't go 80 there.
Well, no, people go 80 there all the time. Like that's why I learned to like, I go with the flow of traffic. I like to be a traffic gray man, if you will.
Yeah. That's the way to be. Yeah.
Like middle lane as fast as the middle lane's going. And then every once in a while, if there's an idiot in the middle lane, I'll pass them on the left lane. But like, basically blend in. That's what I like to do.
The really fun thing, if you ever drive with Jay Gibson,
oh my God.
If you are just let him drive, but you give directions. All right, now you're in control.
I'll
be like,
us.
I'll be like, hey, you need to get in the right lane. You're like, oh, and you're like, yeah, you got a turn coming in 37 miles.
Dude,
I'll be like, hey, you see this light up here? Just go straight.
he followed us up to a class, and like he was going 55 miles an hour the entire way in a 70 mile an hour zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he'll slow down way before the stop sign.
Yes.
Like you coast to a stop.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it is fine. But it's fun to give him stupid directions. He laughs at it too.
So then the other thing that has influenced my driving is growing up in New Jersey, especially, once I found the world that we do, like the world of being armed and capable individuals, right? I can at least say now in New Jersey, if I drive like that, I have a valid New Jersey carry permit.
But there was a time.
There may have been a time where, I had to have a mentality of like one crime at a time, man. Like, and if you're already speeding, like then you're at risk.
Yep.
Like there's no need for it. And like for what? To save a couple extra minutes somewhere, put on an audiobook and just like chill out. Like there's not too many people are in a rush all the time when they're driving. And like I truly believe that the right foot on most humans is linked directly to the part of the brain that houses the ego. Because I have a bunch of friends that drive fast. You know what? I don't hold it against them. I like to talk to them about it and kind of investigate like what drives it.
Is this an intervention?
No, it's not a friend. You're hardly one of the people that I think of when I think of like fast drivers. But like, there is I think an aspect of it that is like, well, you're not going to go faster than me. And it's like,
yeah.
I don't get like that. It just doesn't enter my brain. So like, I find it fascinating, but, anyway, I don't know how we got onto speeding. But
him and his inability to have a license.
Yeah.
There was a story I wanted to tell because yours is pretty bad. Like like having to go through all the rigmarole with Tennessee. And
it's like I tried to pay the damn ticket. It's just like they don't like it says call this number to make a court appointment. I live in Florida. I'm not making a court appointment ever in Paris, Tennessee. You know,
Not willingly.
I was to find a lawyer that wants to sue them for being retarded about tickets, but but it's like, so I call that number. I call, go on Google, try to look stuff up on, Tennessee's DMV. I cannot figure it out. You can't, like, how much time of your life are you going to have to dedicate to this thing?
Right.
When they could, again, just print off a piece of paper that says how to pay a damn ticket. And I said, I made a complaint. I was really cool about it, right?
Yeah.
Because like my algorithm is super Christian, and they're like pray for your enemies. Don't be a jerk and stuff. And so when I talked to him, I'm like, hey, I explained the thing, and I'm like, it'd be cool if you guys would do it this way, so that people can understand how to pay their ticket and they wouldn't get their license suspended. And he was like, well, you think if you could make an appointment, you could ask questions about how you pay your ticket. I'm like, okay, but they didn't answer their phone. And he goes, well, I see them answering the phone all the time. I'm like, okay, but they didn't. You're like, well, did you leave a voicemail? I'm like, dude, you're missing the point. Write clear instructions. That makes sense. If they're closed on Friday, which they are, that should be written there.
Yeah.
The hours you can call should be written there.
Yeah. And
I didn't even mention to him, y'all should be able to process card payments. Like, is there someone at your department with a Venmo account that can just make this happen right now?
Come on, get with the 21st century.
I mean, I can process card payments at least 4 different ways with my phone and a thingy in my backpack upstairs, So, yeah, it's just dumb, because it's like, I've literally put in over a week of just trying to sort this out.
You should send him a bill.
I know, for real.
Invoice
and it led to me missing a flight, like having to fly. And then first flight didn't work. And then I get to North Carolina the next day, and then that flight's canceled. So now I have to get a hotel. Like, it just led to such a stupid chain of events. And of course, people say don't speed. I get it. Okay, that's fine.
That's over and done with. Like, that has been that event can't change.
Yeah.
But what the things should change is all of the bullshit and the hoops and the.
It's like, if you want my money, make it easy to take my money.
Yeah,
like
I'm
every
trying
business
to give
that
it to you.
It's like that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin. You ever see that? Where Jonah Hill walks into the I bought it on eBay store. It's like, I want to buy these shoes, and the girl's like, yeah, but we don't do that here. He's like, but I want these shoes, and they were crazy shoes. They're like shoes with like fish in them or something like that. He's like, I just want to buy these shoes and go home and wear them. And she's like, yeah, that's not what we do here. Like, why? Right. Like, I want to give you money.
Yeah, take the
for
money.
These shoes that you want to sell on eBay.
We hate money.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
Yeah. So interesting story.
Yeah.
I think the South is the worst with traffic, by the way, with laws, especially traffic laws.
I can hear the typing of the one person right now.
No, we're fine. We're way better than the North. Fuck. Okay. So I have
Try us again.
I have a deep hatred for Virginia, like the state. Or Commonwealth, whatever.
Not the people.
What are they?
Not the people.
Yeah, not the people who live in Virginia. They're okay. Most of them, I think. The state, though, can go fuck itself.
Ooh,
it is not
statement.
for lovers. It is for sadistic fucks. Just saying, Virginia is not for lovers.
It's not easy to get Mike to speak this way about anything. So
they got me heated. There's a preface for this story. So one year, probably in my early mid-20s or whatever, my good friend, a girl, and her now husband were driving through Virginia, and I trust them. They don't speed. They're the most cautious people I know. They're great people, and they got targeted by a Virginia state trooper as they were driving home, and he pulled them over and then basically lied. Like you're out of state plates. I'm going to charge you with 80 miles an hour on a highway. And this is where I learned that Virginia is a state that will hand you tickets, and any ticket over 80 miles an hour isn't just a speeding ticket in Virginia. It's a reckless driving ticket. a reckless driving charge. In Virginia, reckless driving is a misdemeanor offense.
Ooh.
So they told me this whole thing. It was kind of on my radar, back when it happened to them. And I was just angry that like my friends, these innocent people, got targeted by a state trooper, and they were like, we weren't speeding. Like, we just weren't. I'm like, they're not the people to lie about it, especially to me, like their best friend. If they were speeding, they'd be like, yeah, he totally caught us. Like they weren't speeding. And so he totally railroads them, pulls them over, and she had to go through all this rigmarole. And I'm like, okay, so never speed in Virginia. Like, that was my takeaway from it. Fast forward like 3 or 4 years later, driving home from my mom's house in North Carolina, driving up through Virginia and like Bodetort County. By the way, I would never know that there was a stupid name like Bodetort County without this incident happening.
A second person is furiously typing.
Coming up over a hill. Those fucking hills, right? Up over the hill, down the other side. There was a truck struggling to get up the hill in the right lane. I had the cruise control on. He was going way too slow. I had to like pull over. Cruise control came off. Got back on the gas to keep up with speed. Crested the hill, came down the other side. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm going 76.
Oh.
And I'm like, I will slow down.
The patriotic speed.
Yeah. I was like, like I was like, oh, I accidentally went 6 miles over what my speed limit was, or my cruise control was set for, went back over to the right lane. And I'm like, I was like 30 seconds, like literally 30 seconds of speeding. I'm like, all right, well, my bad. Driving along 10 minutes later, still on cruise control, get the lights popped on behind me and all the whole nine. I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't even speeding. Well, it turns out he was watching for those 30 seconds that happened. I'm like, how? How does that even happen? So
because he heard you were coming through.
So did you get a ticket for that?
Pulls me over, and apparently it was like a work zone or something with no construction or whatever. So like the speed limit was lower. I was doing 76 or whatever, and he goes, hey, here's the ticket, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't say anything about it, doesn't explain it, doesn't do anything. He goes, you be safe and slow down. Okay. And I was like, all right, yeah, I did. I was doing 76. Sorry. I was like, I didn't say that, but
you don't even notice a 6 mile per hour distance at
agree.
70.
So the problem was they cut the speed limit down to 55 because it was a work zone, even though there was no work happening.
Reckless charge.
So 20 miles. So anything over 80 or anything 20 miles over the speed limit, instant reckless driving ticket in Virginia. Now, they don't tell you on that ticket that if you just take it home and you do the thing that you do with speeding tickets, you give them a check and you write your name on the back and you send it back and be like, oh, that's over and done with, whatever. I'll get some points on my license, whatever. So I was like, wait a second. My friend went through this and she said there was some shit that goes down with this. So I went in, checked the ticket, and I'm like, it doesn't say it on here. Maybe they changed things. No, looked it up online. Like, if you plead yes, if you sign that thing, send it back in, guilty, whatever, you have a criminal record. Like, you get a guilty record for, like a confession for reckless driving, which is a misdemeanor offense, punishable up to 1 year in jail. They never send anybody to jail for that, of course, because it's a racket.
The point is
they can.
They can.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm worried because like, hey, I'm now getting into this gun world where I'm like, oh, well, I have firearms and like, I know a criminal conviction is one of those things that you have to like disclose on the forms and stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it's not a felony, but still like it's a criminal record. So I'm like, this is some bullshit. I had to get a lawyer. I had to find a lawyer down in Bodetort County. And by the way, Bodetort is not spelled in any logical fashion. Bodetort County, the guy had to represent me totally like in absentia, I think they call it. And he calls me up one day. He's like, listen, I worked out this sweetheart of a deal for you. I'm like, oh, okay, tell me, because I'd really like this thing to go away. He's like, we're going to set you up with PTI. Pre-trial intervention. Oh, okay. That sounds exactly what I need. Like you do that and the judge throws out the whole thing. He's like, yep, no problem. Here's the conditions. You have to pay a fine. Fine. Okay. Extortion, taxes. They just tax. It's just, road pirates.
Yarg.
Yeah.
You be speeding on me highways.
Yep. Oh, by the way, you also have to do
Heave two.
Yeah, you have to do an 8-hour defensive driving course.
Oh, that could be fun.
Oh, okay. No, it's not like it's like, oh, let's get behind the wheel and learn to defensively drive. No, it's like you sit in a thing for 8
How
hours.
do I
and
J-turn?
they're like, make sure that you put your mirrors out so you can see better. And it's like, okay, so it's a driving course. That was like almost like, all right, well, more money I got to pay to some sort of stupid system, but whatever. You have to do 24 hours of community service.
Oh.
I'm like,
In Virginia or in PA?
No. Luckily, he was like, he was in New Jersey at the time,
Oh.
so I had to find like a Red Cross that I could volunteer at for 24 hours. Like,
So
this is
it made you a better citizen. Everything I'm hearing so far is a positive.
pretty much. I actually, it's funny. I was like, hey, I'm active in the Boy Scouts of America. Does that count as community service? He goes,
No.
nope. Why? Well, because you do it already. I'm like, so I have to go above and beyond the community service that I already do.
I'm quitting the BSA to rejoin the BSA.
Okay. And this is the one that was scary. He's like, okay, so while this whole process is going on, you can't get anything on your license. Like, you cannot get a speeding ticket. You can't get a moving violation. You can't run a stop sign. In Jersey.
In Jersey.
Yeah.
In Jersey.
You know how long? And he's
Yes.
like, it'll take about a year.
Oh my God.
So
You're just white knuckle driving, trying not to
every
get caught
single
doing
place that I go, I
anything.
wouldn't drive.
You don't
Like,
understand. Driving in Jersey, driving in
There's
Jersey.
cops everywhere.
And like, if you go across like the Pennsylvania Turnpike Bridge into Jersey, within 3 miles, you will see 4 state troopers. It is unreal.
And it's like, it's so stupid too, because it's like, okay, the whole like all cops are bad and like everyone hating cops became a thing. If you dealt with shit like that constantly, I get it.
You hate cops.
I would. Who wouldn't?
So finish your
It's a
story.
reasonable thing if that's your interaction.
Yeah, they don't give you any redeeming quality. So like,
I've had plenty of positive interactions with
Yeah,
police,
yeah.
but like if that was the stuff I dealt with, I would absolutely
The
hate them.
institution as a whole
it's
is
stupid.
sucks, and like they don't make it any better for themselves, and they seem to dig the hole a little bit deeper.
well, here's the thing. Like,
But-
the system itself is set up like it's not even them.
No,
Like, that's, and I want to make that distinction because it's not every cop's dream to like go set up speed traps.
it is
But
literally
But some of them suck, and that's what they love doing.
Yes.
well, some of them may,
Yeah.
just like there's some that probably really like, performing terrible things, like, basically inflicting will on unsuspecting people.
There's narcissists
Because there's people that exist like that in
everywhere.
And
every industry and profession. But what I want to say is like it's the government infrastructure, the politics, the bureaucracy. That's the stuff that drives like, hey, let's have laws that have these hidden criminal charges in them, or let's have these increased fines, and let's have like quotas at the end of the month. So that, I just want to, a little bit of a defense.
Construction zone.
And then if the cops don't do it, they
get penalized.
They get penalized, or they lose their job, which
Like,
it's just crazy.
I've talked to cops before, and like one of the most terrifying. I mean, think about it. It is standard procedure for them to put fingerprints and DNA on the back of your car in case they get shot and killed.
Mhm.
That is like when you see a cop walk up to the back of your car, you will see him put his hand on your car.
Yeah.
That is there, so there's fingerprint proof that he was there in case you shoot him in the face. That is why that is done. So, like, for a cop, like, think about it, like,
You're having forced interactions
with people, cops see people at the worst for the most part.
Yeah.
And so the amount of, they talk about PTSD, like, how about a cop that has to do 50 to 60 hours on a week, and all he gets to do is deal with people in their worst moments of that day or that week or that month? So anyway, finish your story.
It's a terrible job. But
Finish your story, sir.
I mean, that's pretty much the end of it. I went through the whole thing, and finally it got cleared, and I was like, oh. But by that point, I was already like, you know what? I'm just going to do this driving thing where I just don't.
Well, that completely explains your driving.
Well,
100%, yeah.
that influenced it. I was in my 20s when that happened. I was never a crazy driver, but that combined with like, hey, sometimes I carry shit in the car that could get me in trouble. Like, I'm not going to go into I'm not going to go into, like, I'm just saying, like, sometimes you have to make decisions in your life that are good, or like, that you have to make to keep your family safe or to go do things that you want to do. And, that's part of the thing. So like, there were sometimes things in my car that if I got caught with them, I would be in terrible shit.
Felonies, not misdemeanors.
Let's not, I don't want to.
Potentially.
Yeah, allegedly.
I mean, like for me, a certain video lecture, live lecture and video lecture woke me up to like, you're carrying something on your person that you have the ability to escalate things to a deadly encounter. And if some guy wants to cut you off or some guy wants to speed, like the only time that is different for me is if someone is clearly driving recklessly. I do not want to be behind them. If I'm going to be behind them, I go to a rest stop and I stop for 10 or 15 minutes and then I continue on my way. Otherwise, I want to be in front of them. If someone's going to drive reckless and stupid, I have no problem hitting 95 miles an hour, getting around them and letting them be behind me. I will not let that happen in front of me. I've seen too much crap in driving as much as I have as a job that I do not want that in front of me.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, I don't want, like, because I can't do anything about someone behind me.
Yeah, but I don't want to, like, if I have my kids with me, if I have my wife with me, I do not want an 18-wheeler going jackknife in front of me because that jackass cut them off.
Oh, no, I agree. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near them in general, but
get behind me.
I'd rather slow down to the point of like, I'll fall far behind them so I have plenty of reaction time.
You hope.
Rather than try to like skirt around them and then all of a sudden I have to worry about them. Like, what if I have to react to something they hit me? But like,
anyway,
people just suck.
Yeah. So positive encounters with police and guys, just as a side note, like, remember what these cops are dealing with. I'm not saying that, they get a pass. I'm just saying, like, it's a shitty job. It's a thankless job. People, for the most part, have negative connotations towards it, but the reality is that some of those people are going to go running to your aid while people that you may consider friends and family will run away. So just keep it in mind.
Yeah, hopefully. Like, that's what we pay those guys for. So
anyway,
but yeah, what's funny? We've now been talking for like half hour. We didn't plan to talk about anything. Like, I don't know what the hell we were gonna.
Well, we were gonna talk about the class, maybe. Why Andrew's here?
First you said it was going to be an interview with me.
Yeah, we're going to,
It got sideways, as it does sometimes here on the
Berm podcast.
But anyway, so we have Andrew. Andrew is up for Force on Force.
Well, he's up for a lot of things.
Yes, well, I was getting there. Force on Force. He's also here for the muster, the 3rd annual Tremis Dynamics muster.
Yeah, the all hands muster here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah, and also, are you taking Dave Bigger's Red Zone?
Red Zone, I'm planning on taking. I haven't signed up
yet,
but that I'm here. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, okay. And to be specific, the class isn't Force on Force. It's a Force on Force class, but it's the science of dynamic violence from Forward Training Concepts, Sonny Pazikas,
in connection with,
and Tremis Dynamics, Gary Marr. So it's been a 3-day class. Andrew missed 2/3 of it because of American Airlines.
Because of Paris, Tennessee.
And by proxy, Paris, Tennessee.
We could have went and got his bag and relieved him of his Tiger Stripe backpack before he arrived.
Well, and he did make a very handsome Tiger Stripe backpack that he showed us that he's giving away at the all hands muster this weekend.
Yep. One of a kind. It was a prototype bag, totally awesome bag. It's just like, the one I'm going to sell is going to be a little bit different dimensions.
Yeah. Smash up on that mic, by the way, when you're
talking.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for what's coming this weekend, man, because today was amazing. I just made a post on Instagram about, like, I just all of a sudden found myself in a class with like 6, 7 like trainers that list their classes on Bulletin. 2 of which were fellow students in the class. 2 of which just showed up randomly. So we got to see Lewis Karras. He was there. Obviously, Gary and Sonny were teaching the class. Lewis was there. Andrew, you showed up today. Jay Gibson showed up. Calvin Lim showed up. Am I missing anybody?
Instructor-wise?
Instructor-wise?
I don't think so.
No, okay. So it was like all of a sudden, like, hey, it's like all my favorite people all in one room.
I mean,
Right.
like I don't think I could think of a better group of people to have been there. Like, it would have been fantastic if Jay and Calvin could have been there for the other 2 days.
Yeah.
But like, it's been an amazing group of people. I got to meet Thurman, who
He's a good
has
dude.
a facility in Ohio. I don't know if you would consider him an instructor or just a host.
I think he does help facilitate and host some classes
Gotcha.
out there.
And then we had the PA group,
Yeah,
Becker from Ammo Supply Warehouse.
He was there. A bunch of our good friends are there. But like it's been an amazing 3-day class. There's more people coming in. We got like all the trainers coming in this weekend. There's classes being held tomorrow.
Zach's coming, right?
Zach's coming. Zach Bush from Definitive Training Solutions.
Concepts?
No, Definitive Training Concept. There's a lot of concepts
It is concepts
in
yeah.
training
Well,
now.
they're thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts and
happen.
concepts. Jonathan Aldridge is holding a class tomorrow in Bloomsburg, I believe, for Iron Forge Consulting. So like it's amazing. Dave
Yeah.
Biggers is coming to town. Like, and we got some trainers coming in just for the muster. It's Christmas time.
Yeah. What is the muster?
What is it?
Yeah, explain it.
It is a damn. Like I don't.
So the muster is basically a collection. It's kind of like Alumni Weekend in Camden, except for it's PA's alumni. But
Well, no,
but-
it's different. It's an event,
but
and it's open to the public.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah,
difference.
that's
So
difference.
it's
It's not.
It's a training event. It's a training consortium.
Yeah.
No, a conglomerate, a conference.
conference. I like that. Training
Conference
conference.
is probably the best way to put it, but it allows us to bring in awesome people such as
Yeah.
Andrew here. So
And you have a collection of some of the best trainers, not in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Some of the best trainers in the country. And there's going to be a bunch of people doing presentations. Andrew's going to have one as well.
what is
Your presentation.
your presentation? Do you know what it is yet?
Yeah. Cheat codes to pistol shooting.
Cheat codes to pistol shooting.
There's like, you did pistol skills one with
I
me.
did.
So you've already should have gotten pretty much everything I'm going to talk about because I'm compressing
It helped.
key points into 1 hour.
It 100% helped my movement with pistol around corners
Okay.
because of your class and pistol skills.
In what part?
Being able to compress in and be comfortable with it and still be able to get a sight alignment.
Oh, not having your arms all the way out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Relaxing. I was able to relax more as I went around the corner with the movement with the pistol. Not that there was any recoil with the airsoft, but still I was able to keep that relaxation down. I wasn't doing this. It helped.
Good.
It was one less
Good.
thing I had to think about as I came around the corner with a completely new way of movement.
Yeah, so there's like it's like I see it at a lot of classes, especially within our circle, because we don't in like the classes we teach nerd out too much on the minutiae inside of shooting a pistol, but there's certain things that like just make the presentation a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Makes pressing the trigger effortless. Makes like a lot of guys click on reset.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're going bang, click, but what they're really doing is going bang, re-aim my gun, click, re-aim my gun, go to the wall, re-aim my gun.
Oh
bang.
yeah, there's a lot
So
a lot of dancing around almost in between.
yeah.
steps.
So it's like if we could just have a way better grip that gives us a better presentation, a straighter trigger press, make our trigger press happen so that we reset immediately. And I teach 3 modes of pressing the trigger, as in like, kind of like speeds, and as in the mode you're in, it's either really accurate but not as fast, or medium on both, or it's really fast but just not as accurate.
Gotcha.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go into 2 of those because the really accurate one, you'd probably want an hour just to dedicate to that alone. So permitted I have time, I'll go into that. But yeah, biggest thing is like just like some things on grip. If I could just give them that stuff, that'd be great. Get them not clicking, that would be great. And then the other thing I want to do is get them able to shoot without like trying to see the front sight crystal clear and be able to let go of that a little bit. Because like, I mean,
that's an interesting one to kind of break down, because I don't think a lot of people focus on like the non-perfect quote unquote sight picture.
Right.
Everyone is always very, like it has to be the perfect sight picture. You have to live on that front sight.
That front sight crystal clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if there's a dude 5 feet away from you holding an axe, you're not going to do that.
Right.
It's unreasonable to.
No. Yeah.
Our eyes naturally track targets. They naturally look at stuff. Like dudes that are shooting clays, they're probably not focusing
on the front sight
bead because they're not going to be able to keep that bead on the clay.
Yeah, I would even make I've always thought about this too. The exploration of one of my favorite concepts to kind of dig into is unconscious competency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like when you first start shooting, you don't see the sights.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, oh my God, I just, and like they disappear and you're like, why can't I hit the target? Mm-hmm. And then you focus for a long time on like seeing the sights. Like every time I present that thing, I focus on that front side, live on the front side. Oh, wow. I got better. Wow.
And a few hours ago, Mike and I were shooting each other in total darkness.
Yeah. It was
like we couldn't see our gun.
Yeah.
But we were shooting each other
in total darkness.
Yeah, with airsoft guns.
Yeah, they were airsoft guns.
But it was like the light was on for a second, and then we were both shooting, and we both got shot a bunch.
Yeah,
like
it's almost like I made hits without being able to look at the gun at all.
Unconsciously competent.
Yeah. And to give some context, we were doing it in a low light scenario and exploring. And this is the great thing about training with different trainers. Cause like you'll find people that are like, you should never press a trigger unless you have a light on, which before this weekend or this class is something that I was very much like, oh, well, yeah, I agreed with that. And, we got to explore things in a structured and instructor-led environment that says, hey, you know what, maybe try something different and see how it works out for you. And it was interesting to explore the idea in a controlled, safe environment of, hey, you know what, let me try and fight this guy and this shady looking
bearded Florida
man in a dark alleyway, and let me see what happens if I smash that light on, move, or put the light on, see, oh, he's over there, quickly turn it off, move my feet, get to another spot, and instead of turning that light on, because I know where he is, he's right there. Let me take a few shots, pacow, 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 turn the light on, and he's like, yeah, you got me. I'm like, oh, well, it's possible to do it.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I don't know if that's what I want to incorporate into my training methodology.
But it's something I experiment with.
Yeah. But it's something that's like, oh, well, you know what? It's interesting to hear different perspectives on like how you can treat and when you can hit that light and be sure of making hits.
On a side note of that, I had one of the airsoft pistols with big dots on it.
So you saw your sights?
Yeah, by accident. Like it wasn't an intentional thing. I'm like, the first time I brought it up, I'm like, oh,
they glow.
I can see my sights. This is a cheat.
But did you see your target?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But in 2 of the encounters with my partner, I was able to do accuracy because when he didn't cheat.
Yeah.
Accuracy because I was nice to him too. Accuracy because I saw the front sights and I was able to, like it was interesting because I had never, this is my first low light anything.
Excess big dot sights are cheating, by the way. Like I think they're the best damn sights to ever exist. And I'll also say that anything XS makes is awesome. Yeah. But I prefer big dots. But I know they make the notch and post sights and
F8s are my favorite.
F8s.
He has an argument for the F8s, and I shot them, and I have to say they were
So, and there's something I need to actually learn more about the DX2s, but like the simple thing is that with F8s going out to distance, you don't have to hold low. Where with DXC2s, you have to hold low and the round's going to impact high. So it's just not like less thinking. You know? You don't have to understand like what the holds are. Now I'm talking about like out to 100 yards though. You know?
Yeah.
So
well, and it comes around to intuitive shooting because like And this is where I was kind of going with the idea of like, okay, so you start and you don't see your sights and you don't make hits. Then you start focusing on your sights and you make hits. And then you start challenging yourself to make harder hits with sights or faster. And then you start maybe not getting that perfect sight picture. And then I'll say, and this isn't tooting a horn or trying to like say this is like, you know, I found myself trying to push speed maybe too much in this class. So I backed that down some to make sure that I was, you know, trying to acquire my sights. But there was plenty of times where I tried to push speed too fast and that thing comes out and I make a hit. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing my sights. So then it begs the argument of, am I just intuitively point shooting? Or is, you know, have I, you know, maybe in all of those repetitions over, you know, thousands upon thousands of presentations of a pistol, gotten to the point where, oh, I do it, but I just like my brain doesn't register it as a conscious thought anymore. So you get to unconscious competency.
Are you able to see the gun? You just don't see the sight. You don't focus on the sights being perfectly lined up. Correct.
Yeah. Like you get to the end of it and I can accurately remember, well, he did this. I did this. The gun came out. I fumbled it. And like, but like the last thing I think about is the trigger press and the sight alignment, but the shot's breaking and it's hitting the person in the face. Yeah. So like, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, and you can't break it down because you're not thinking about it. And then you have to like slow yourself down to think about it. And you're like, okay, I'm still doing the thing, but it's just a weird world where you get to that point where you're like, oh, I'm doing okay. Like I'm doing the thing, but I'm not doing all of the things that I can break that process down into. And you're like, that's kind of cool. It's kind of the Zen aspect of shooting.
And that pushing the limits is badass. That's a thing that people need to do more of.
Yeah.
I started out pretty slow, like taking my time, especially when we were doing the movements, and I found I could go faster. And I found a point where I was a ragged edge a little bit. Like I knew my hits weren't going where I wanted them to go, and I backed off a little bit. But like the fact that I was able to hit the gas more than I thought I could was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I would say for you, if I had to guess, it's probably a combination of the answer is yes.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I had plenty of times to beat myself up and hate myself because I'm terrible.
Well, he does that.
Like, dude, the draw itself, like, you know, making hits, making shots is like, oh, I do that shit all the time. And then like, just for some reason, I was trying to like, you really focus on like getting that gun out and getting a grip on it before it comes out of the holster. And like, maybe it's a factor of the fact that I don't use a Glock 19 anymore and all those guns are Glock 19s. It's probably not that. It's just that I've gotten really fucking lazy at drawing the gun out, and I don't get a good grip on it before I pull it out. So I kept messing that up all day.
I have an argument on that is your body has changed significantly too.
Yeah.
Well, that's possible, but like this is also something that I've noticed in my own habits that like, you know, sometimes you really have to take a deep hard look at like the things that you like. This is one of the things Sonny gets into in his classes. Like you need to find the thing that is your biggest suck, and you need to do that a lot. So like that's one of the things that I listed in my notes of like, oh, I need to work on my draw. Like it's, you know, I've done it a million times, but you know what? I still suck at it. So time to work on it some more.
Because I honestly thought that when the very first thing we did, I thought your draw looked pretty fucking good. I was like, that was smooth.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. But like, you know, the thing is, if I'm noticing that I'm like messing it up a bunch, like where I don't have a good grip on it or it like gets hung up in my shirt and all that other stuff, like, hey, you know, like I'm the best person to assess it. It's like, I'm not happy with it because, you know, So like, or at least I haven't attained the level of, I hate even using this word because I don't think I don't consider myself a quote unquote master of anything, but the skills we master are the things that we can't get wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So like like in my mind, it's like, nope, you have not mastered that. Like that is something you need to work on a lot. And that along with a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it, you know, I think it's, you know, it's fun to explore all those things in classes still. Like,
yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Like that environment and also the students that were in the class. I mean, that had as much to do with it as anything else, and their willingness to play. Like that was the biggest thing for me. Is day 2 and 3 is like we were playing at this, like in the best way.
Yeah,
like experimenting, pushing, pulling. Like it was really awesome. I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, none of us know what the fuck is going to happen.
It is
I
called
don't think they do.
the Crucible.
The Crucible. Apparently, it is a test of some sort or a chamber of secrets. I don't know. Like it's we've gotten no hints this week as to what the Crucible will be. All the while being told by both Gary and Sonny that they don't know what it's going to be, which is hilarious. But it's like, it's interesting seeing these like two people that have attained a certain level of mastery in whatever they do and seeing them come together and then like have different points of instruction about how to achieve basically being deadlier with, I mean, like, how would you describe the 3 days so far, Max? Like it's hard to describe as just a force on force class because that's so broad, but it's
one thing I have taken from Sonny is he is trying to help you discover your innate abilities to do everything you can to not be deadly.
No, I agree, but like,
oh, you mean describe
like what this class, the science of dynamic violence, like what have we learned?
Movement, a way to move efficiently, a way to move where you are not getting yourself hung up, a way of I mean, it's all been about starting from like for me, honestly, it's been like, okay, for the longest time, it was like the movement was part of it, but I need to get the gun out. I need to do the things.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, if we had to distill it down into what type of class it is, I don't think we could.
No.
Like, it is a force on force class. It is a pistol class. It is a, like, almost a CQB class. It's a, like, if I'm thinking of like, the topics that
examination of what you need to improve
movement, physical fitness, you know, ultimately, I would say it's and Andrew is at a disadvantage because he's only seen one of the 3 days that we've been there. But like, it's interesting to see because it's basically learning firearms or, you know, fighting skills with guns in angular or terrain rich environments with resisting opponents.
Yes.
So it's like it's combining a bunch of different things together. It's like Afro-Latin fusion jazz. And like it's like, oh, we're fuck it. We're gonna do music with like 6 different influences right now. And we're gonna see how it goes with other people also playing. Like we're just gonna hop into a band and kind of play off of each other and see how things go and learn some new stuff. It's
and I think one of the most special things with the class is like there's no need for a gun. You could do
everything.
I'm not going to talk
that's
about
like every shooting class.
Yeah,
though.
but I'm not going to talk about Sonny's training implements because I think they're genius, and I don't want to put that out there. That's up to him to do. But like, there are things that he used as implements in the class that you could improve almost all your skills upon without ever needing to draw even an airsoft rifle, or gun.
It's been fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun day. Today was a really good day.
Mm-hmm.
Great people. Great learning experiences, a lot of good exercises and drills. And man, it's the days like this that just make me super, super thankful to be a part of what we do.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Privileged to be part of this brotherhood, and that's the only way I can describe it as brotherhood or family or whatever term you want to use it for.
Yeah. So Andrew, what else you got going on lately? You got obviously you got classes going on. We've talked about classes. Andrew's got a website. You should check it out, combatarttraining.com, right?
There's even a splattering of gear on there, isn't there?
Every once in a while, you will also find some of his classes on bulletin.net. He's one of the trainers that has signed up on Bulletin and is terrible at putting his classes up on it. So sometimes I try to help.
I've been about putting them up on my own website too.
Well,
it's I just caught up with all my gear orders. That was a thing that I needed to get done because I had people wait 6 months to get orders. Now it says made to order, but I don't want people to have to wait that long. But now focus going back onto training. I think if anything, I should use summer months as more of a gear making time.
Yeah, because it's too hot in your neck of the woods during the summer.
hot.
Summer's prime training time for us.
Tactical response is having a sale on training classes. I'm like, shit, dude, I think about charging more.
I mean, and you've been on fire with the videos, man. Like they have been great information. I love your mindset. I love what you do with those. And even with the jazz hands,
it's not jazz hands; it's mocking hands.
Mocking hands.
I try not to do that too much anymore, though.
But anyway, he's on fire with the videos on the various socials.
Thanks, man. I'm trying to because there's not a lot of guys out of our circle making videos.
Yeah.
I ask them to, I'm like, hey, you should be saying stuff too, because it's kind of like I'm the only voice on some of these subjects.
He's talking about me partially.
Not really. It's more
videos.
the instructors I want.
I
want to make videos more than anyone, Yeah. And it seems like James was the one who did the most of that.
Sure.
And some of my videos, you could say it's just copying what he said. But it's something I teach too, So, and it's a message that needs to be said. Like, if it's an active shooter, get in there and stop him now. That's what needs to happen. I just did that video, and I'm like, and that was one that was really important to me because of the comments I had gotten on other videos about, well, I need to make it home with my family and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, dude, I get it, but check it out. You're letting kids die. That's a problem.
Yes.
That mindset is wrong. That your go-to is to run away in the beginning because okay, yeah, sure, you can run away, but if that leads to kids getting killed, I don't support your decision.
Nope.
You can run away if you can, but if you can't, and that was your go-to move that you were going to take, now you're already at a mental disadvantage because the thing you thought that was going to work where you wouldn't have gotten in a fight has failed. And now you're in the fight. Yeah. And you were not planning on being in it. Why did you even carry your gun if your plan was to run away?
And by the way, he's not talking about he's talking about civilians. You people that do things like carry guns and do all the self-masturbation of the EDC pick and don't have medical and find excuses why you can't carry medical and why it's not convenient for you to carry medical.
Haven't taken a medical class, haven't taken a force on force class, been shooting your whole life, but haven't taken a class on how to shoot. So you don't even know that you're not good at it, but it's, there's I think a void of information that needs to be continue to be said. And subjects that need to be explored deeper on, where, there's some things I actually don't care at all about reloads, right? But I do get really annoyed
with people that are so opinionated about reloads.
Yeah, you racked it when this is faster.
He did the thing
already.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
It's his go-to move.
But that's the thing. Dude, you're freaking out over what? Over doing this instead of doing this.
Yeah.
And as far as they have thought about it is, well, if I can press the trigger, I can push a button. Pushing a button is faster. And that's where the thinking stopped.
Yeah.
And, a big thing, is
intellectual laziness. I think is what Senny was calling out a lot during this last class.
Dudes have become NPCs, non-playable characters. Here's how I can prove this. You just look at the comments on my videos. I will get the algorithm pushes videos to certain groups of people. I made a video years back called "Don't Buy 300 Blackout." I don't care if you buy it. All right. My thing was just get a common caliber so that you can always get ammo and it's cheaper and you can take train classes and shoot more instead of taking all that money and putting it into a quiet gun. All right.
You absolutely should not buy 300 Blackout.
No.
I mean,
if you're one of the 17,000 people that has seen
But
my
if
one
But here's the thing.
my one popular video, it was inspired by a conversation with him where he said, "You should make that video."
By
And
the
he
way,
was, "Ah, blah, blah, blah."
if anybody doesn't want to listen to me or the the two other people at this table, let me know because I have a 300 Blackout upper that is for sale. Maybe a few boxes of ammo.
You
It has
should
never been
buy
fired. It's
300
It's never been
Blackout.
fired, not once.
We are wrong up
So-
until you buy the upper. Then
But here's the
we're
thing.
right.
I will get rid of the one that I have if you want it.
I made the video "Don't Buy 300 Blackout," and I would get the same comment from the same group of NPCs.
Yep.
First, it was "It's good for hog hunting." Then it was
Yep. The
"I
tactical
care about
hunters.
my family's hearing," and then it was ballistics, blah blah blah,
Yeah. Mhm.
and then it was "I'm a reloader, so it's cheap for me to have a second job making ammo that
Yeah,
I
all of
picked
which-
up off the ground and spent all weekend resizing and all that
Yeah,
nonsense."
all of which never actually addressed the core
Yeah.
problems with it, and that is, regardless of what you can come up with any excuse to shoot whatever the hell you want, but it's not as easy to train with it.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's
like
not.
no matter what you do, like,
You do
you spend time reloading it, you spend more money filling it, it has less performance in certain situations.
Yeah.
It's just more expensive.
I didn't say anything bad about the performance of it. You know,
Yeah, who cares?
I never even did. But and then so recently I did a short that did really well, and it was AR-15 malfunctions, like how you're jamming your own gun user error. And I was talking about
Yep.
dudes riding the charging handle, not putting the mag in all the way. And then one thing I mentioned was overloading magazines. And I said,
Oh, yeah, that
if
was
you
a-
put in over 30 rounds, it's not going to work. So a good way to avoid that is just load to 28. I don't
Yeah.
care if you load to 30, but here's the thing. If you load to 28 and push down on the rounds and you don't see rounds anymore, you're not going to overload it. That's why I
Yeah.
do it, because I load 20 magazines at once.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's,
Oh, wait. So, but people kept saying the same comment, and I sent him a text. I'm like,
Yep.
read my comments, because every 5 minutes, people would say, "That's a myth. 30 rounds works fine." And I'm like, you didn't listen to the words I used.
Yeah, First off, I can vouch that I have had guns.
Mhm.
Now, granted, there are other factors that come into play here, which you can mitigate by not running your gun super dirty all the time.
Mhm.
But
But they wouldn't load on 30.
it wouldn't load on 30, or I'd have intermittent failures
Yep.
on round 2. Which and then one day I gave it a real good deep cleaning, and oh, look at that, 30 round magazines worked again. And I should have just not
Yeah.
been doing that. However, I would strip 2 out and it would work perfectly every single time. So it's like, well, what's the right? Can it work on 30? Sure. That's a possibility. But I also like exploring the balances between capability, reliability, and where do those play? If it gets me another 500 to 1,000 rounds to load all of my magazines to 28, is that worth it? To me, it is. That's what I download my magazines. But let me ask you a question. How wrong am I? I don't do 28.
What do you do?
29.
Rebel without a cause.
As long as it's under 30
Rebel
and
without
not a
cause.
shit mag, cool.
And now I've never heard anybody. I've always ever heard somebody go, "You got to load it 28."
John Lovell asked, he did a video where he's like, "Do you load to 30 or 29?" And I was like, 28, but yeah, it's like, it doesn't,
Well,
it's not even a big deal.
I'm looking
you know?
for somebody to argue with me
You know
here.
what's really crazy? Sometimes I have a rifle with 27 or 25 rounds in it
Why would you only do that?
because I don't reinsert the same round that was chambered. over
Oh
and
yeah,
over.
that's
Oh.
fair. Yeah.
And so if I go from demoing to like I have to unload it or I clean it real quick, and I'm like, okay, this mag isn't super low. It's like it might have at the lowest 25. I'll put that bitch back in and
everything
fucking
from
load it.
25 to 30 is full.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care.
So and like I had a gun that like on 30 with a bolt forward, you could not get the mag to seat. Like you could not get the mag to seat on a bolt forward if it had 30 rounds in it. 28, 29.
And now people will say they say, oh, if your gun doesn't work with 30, then you have a piece of shit gun. Well, that's really funny when, the dudes that own the most expensive night vision talk about how, I had this one. I'm not going to mention the brand. Okay. But it's a great fucking brand.
Is it though?
$3,000+ rifle. And they say that the Lancer mags with 30 rounds in it would not work in that gun, but it would work in their M&P Sport 2. But if they load the Lancer mag to 28, then it works. And this is funny because this is the only time I've ever talked about this because it's inconsistent.
Breaking news.
It's inconsistent, and to me, it's like not that big of a deal. If it doesn't work with 30, you'll figure that out. Hopefully it's not in a gunfight.
I gotta put a challenge out there because I honestly have not. And who the hell knows who will ever listen to this interview? Our three friends rambling about gun stuff,
and driving.
We might get 2 or 3 people to get this far into the
Jamie,
discussion.
Comment.
Yeah. I would, and I might start talking about this more. I put out a challenge out there to somebody please give me an objective measurement that really puts a $3,000 rifle ahead of a $1,500 rifle.
Ambi controls.
Well, you can have ambi controls on a $1,500 rifle. I'm just saying, what is it that a company that Noveski does or Knights Armament or whatever, why isn't this being and I'm not talking there's people out there that'll do the two extremes. They'll be like, okay, we're gonna grab a PSA Blem set versus maybe a mid-tier rifle like a Suns or what they're but I have never seen somebody really taking the piss out of fucking Noveski
because they got it for free.
Knights Armament
because they got it for free, maybe,
or a Wilson Combat,
and the company has said don't do the cheap rifle comparison.
No, of course, but and it's not. I don't want to see one of them versus a Palmetto State Armory build.
Against an Arrow.
I want to see
Midwest.
I want to see somebody objectively tell me how a Noveski or a Knights Armament works better out of the box than a Midwest gun.
Yeah, or BCM. BCM Midwest Suns, they're all about the same price point.
Yeah,
they're all anywhere from 11 to 15.
Does it last longer? Do they shoot more accurately? What's the acceptable level of accuracy over time? Minute of man? Is it sub MOA guns? What are we there's so many factors here, and why is anybody spending $4,000 to $5,000?
The truth is, a dude who buys an Arrow Precision rifle and takes force on force training, medical training, and a pistol class. Notice I didn't talk about a rifle class. He's more effective than the dude with $5,000
oh yeah,
rifle.
100%.
Yeah.
And we know that.
That $5,000 rifle is a free rifle.
But what I think what he's saying is the same person with the same level of training with these rifles. They have a $1,500 rifle and they have a $3,500 rifle. Where is that $2,000 going into? And I mean, if you're going to talk about QC. I don't think that that's the case. If you're going to talk about materials in the rifle, because the reality is some rifles that are sub MOA do not make good fighting rifles. They can be finicky.
Yeah,
what is that $2,000 extra getting you?
Or 3 or whatever,
3 or 4. It's like a Radian.
Yeah, and it coming from a guy who has had a career in the advertising and marketing industry, I know what that difference is. I know it. Like, it's the fucking logo on the side of the gun. It's the image that you get to carry with you when you go to the range and people see the DD on the side of your gun, or the fucking, like, you know, Wilson Combat, you know.
And honestly, like
Don't buy a Wilson Combat.
Yeah, no.
By the way,
like,
I'm sorry if there's anybody from Wilson Combat that ever listens, which I know won't ever happen, but I have not seen great things from Wilson Combat rifles and classes.
like I have heard great things about the animal defense. I have personally seen 3 in classes go to shit. Like, I would not right now. There was a time when I wouldn't have said that because of what I saw and what I heard. Right now, I would not buy a Dano defense.
Well,
Now the Wilson guns, did they all have silencers on them? But that one guy's did.
well, yeah. I mean, he had the one that was silenced and then went to the backup Wilson, which was not silenced, and that one didn't run either.
Oh, I thought that was the same rifle. You just took the can off.
No, he had a backup Wilson gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ew.
yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Okay.
It was not good. Okay, but I just, you know what, strike what I said before, because I don't want to cast aspersions on, like, statistical anomalies. Like, I have not seen a lot of Wilson guns come through class, but, like, those were the first 2 and the only 2, so it's like
They left a poor
100%.
impression.
Same thing with, like, your experience with a Daniel. I'm not saying you haven't been in classes a lot. You've taken a lot of training, but it's still like, you know, it's like seeing somebody crash a Volvo and being like, well, I'm never buying a Volvo. That thing doesn't drive. It's like they're known for safety because that's what they do.
Two Dano defense rifles in the same class.
No, well, yeah, but
2
that's
different
not
people. So, like, again, it's personal experience.
But
and
statistically,
it's
over time, it's an anomaly.
Right.
So, and that's why, like, I admire trainers that, like, keep tracks on data and stuff. And, like, even those guys that are in the know that have seen hundreds and thousands of students come through classes, none of them have ever made an argument for, like, you know what, you really, like, anybody who's anybody really should be getting a Knight's Armament gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, I'm not shitting on Knight's Armament. I'm sure they're awesome, but, like,
I know the perfect YouTuber for this challenge.
Who's that?
One of 2. Either Sage Dynamics, Aaron Cowles. Is that his name? Cowan, sorry. He is very, very deliberate in what he does, and he does that kind of testing. Or Curtis from VSO. Like, either one of those guys, I think.
I mean, it'd be an interesting I would love to see somebody take up the mantle, or if somebody wants to sponsor, I'll make it happen. But
like we don't need to keep the
Butch
gun.
Becker would like to send 2 rifles.
But if you want to pay for the ammunition and send us the rifle,
Becker wants to send me a Noveski gun, and it's like I also hate, like, asking my friends to be like, hey, you want to sponsor this thing? Like I know that's part of the gig of being in the role like this, but, like, I just, you know, it's a general thing that I've just kind of felt for a while. It's like, yeah, I don't think anybody really answers this big question in the industry.
No.
Like,
it's presumed.
Prove it to me.
Yeah.
Prove it. Come on, Knights.
Yeah.
Like, prove to me why your gun is the one.
Hey,
like,
Radian, like, prove it, because, like, you're almost unobtainium and you are probably north of $3,000.
I don't know anything about Radiant, but I do, like, on the flip side, it's like, you know what? There's plenty of companies out there, like, and I know I'm a shill because they're good people.
Shill it, baby.
Midwest. Or Sons of Liberty or Iron Pig Armament, or like, you know, people that put their money where their mouth is. Like, okay, yeah, like they work hard for it. Like, they deserve it. Like, I don't know how to put it any other way other than, like, they're out there working for it to, like, and they're willing to, like, put reputations on the line in classes for people that can afford guns.
Yep.
Like, hell, even fucking Palmetto State Armory does, you know, they make a good price point, and
hey,
it seems to work for
I think
people.
Palmetto is doing a wonderful job of trying to.
I just haven't seen a lot in classes.
Yeah, but I think they're doing a great job of trying to put a gun in everyone's hands that they can afford to buy.
Yeah, I like that company for that. Yeah. And, like, I have one PSA rifle that has been awesome. It's like an M16A4 style gun with an FN barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another one that came all fucked up, but it was also during the pandemic when everyone was buying their first rifle ever.
Yeah.
So it was like, so what went wrong? The part that went wrong was the gas key on the bolt carrier group. That came loose. I fixed that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other problems that I was like, what the hell is going on? The hammer spring was backwards. That's stupid. Okay, that's a problem. And it had a 9 mil buffer in it. That's a stupid problem too.
Mm.
But I'm also like, I would bet if I hired a ton of new people and things were going crazy and we were doing 1 billion orders a day, I would screw something up too.
Yeah, those
but
things.
There is the issue that, I worked in a gun store and I discovered that an AR-10 that was on the wall, used one, had the wrong buffer in it. Okay.
Mm.
So that's a major problem. I brought it back to the armorers. Gunsmith. The gunsmith brought it back, put it on the wall, and said it has a lifetime warranty. Don't bring this back. And I'm like, that could end up being loaded in someone's bedroom.
Yeah.
And they're thinking they're going to bet their life on that.
So many points of contact along the chain that all have to believe in what this lifestyle is. And if one of them fails, it sucks because
fuck that guy for doing that.
Yeah, fuck him.
Exactly.
Fuck him. I don't care. Like,
I firmly believe that, and I do believe this, and I think it should be mandatory, is that anything that could be considered a life-saving thing like that should be test fired.
Yeah.
If it is not test fired a mag, and I understand that, like, when you produce 100,000 rifles, that may be untenable. But I think that if you have a gun, whether it's a pistol or a rifle, and a mag is not fed through it before it is put in a box and shipped off, I think that's just wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be like you were lucky if you got like you used to buy a gun.
Oh yeah, it came with like little sample target and like, hey, look, it worked.
A round, or I just think that.
Well.
But that's my personal.
I think some of it
opinion.
is your job too, like as the purchaser. Like you have to take some of that responsibility. But it just goes to show that along the way, if somebody doesn't give a shit about people's lives and like they don't take it seriously, the role that they're in terms of like, hey, getting life-saving tools in the hands of people that need it, like, then it falls to shit and like people can get hurt. Like, but that's why I've been very lucky to like meet awesome people in the industry, and I would say the vast majority do give a shit. And like, there's a lot of a lot of stores out there that like, I don't carry those because they're not reliable. Like, I know a store that won't carry like they will like if somebody comes in to trade in like a Springfield XD or something like that, they'll accept them as trade-ins, but then they'll only sell them online, which I know is a stipulation, but like if you're a store, you have to figure out how to like buy and sell inventory. That's a thing. But they're like, we're not.
Well, it's better than recommending it.
Yeah, they're like, we're not a Springfield dealer. We won't be because they're terrible. Like not from a customer service standpoint or margins or whatever. We just won't do it because they're not good guns.
Yeah. So when I worked at the gun store, dude, like I should have been fired, but like I had so many, because I'd be like, they'd be like, I got this, Serpa holster, and I'd be like, let's put that back.
Don't do that.
Let me see your phone. Order this, and but they would have they had so much garbage there, and all the salespeople would just let people buy garbage, and I would not do that, and they'd be like, I want to buy this piece of shit gun. I'd be like, not in an argument, you're wrong, you're dumb. I'd be like, hey, well, why don't we take a look at this? And I had like the best Glock 19 pitch that you could ever find in a gun store. And it was like, I would be like either a Glock 19 or an M&P, or sorry, Glock 19 or a Canic. And if they're like not going to carry a gun that big, then it would be a M&P Shield or a Glock 43, because those were the options at that time.
Sure.
And and so I had what my manager called a cult following, and they were firing people left and right, like for everything. I didn't get fired, and but it was because I was like, I cared about them. I wouldn't sell them garbage, and I educated them
Right.
to the best I could.
Yeah.
You know?
That's your job.
Yeah.
It should be.
Should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like, I had like, for instance, this one couple that I'd worked with, they didn't buy a gun. No big deal. But then I came back to work and they're returning a gun. I go, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, we're returning this gun. I'm like, what'd you get? And it's either the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, I think, or the LCP. And basically it had a long double action trigger pull. It was a tiny 380.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, I can't press the trigger on this. It's too hard for my finger. I went, and like in my brain, I'm like, yeah, of course it is. And I went, oh, well, who told you to buy that? And you're like, that guy over there. I went, oh, he doesn't carry a gun, right? And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't even have a gun. He doesn't own one.
Yeah, you should listen to people.
That should almost be a prerequisite to be able to sell a gun. You
would
think?
think.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. I always was like thinking, like, it'd be so easy to rob this store. They had one loaded magazine back in one area. And they're like, nah, if someone breaks in, we'll grab this and load one of the rifles and take care of business. I'm like, how would you just carry a gun on your body? And they're like, nah, why?
Why would we do that?
And I'm like,
Weird.
okay, so that magazine is just that's sitting there where stuff gets moved all the time.
Mhm.
You're just gonna pick a rifle, hope it's zeroed, hope it has sights, hope it's lubed, hope it works, and use that.
I mean, here's an idea, a crazy thought. Let's say you want to sell a certain gun, a certain pistol. How about you hand one out to everyone that works in the store? And then when someone goes to buy a gun, they say, well, why should I buy that? Well, I don't know if you noticed, but all of our employees are carrying that pistol for defending this location. And so this is why we sell this pistol.
It would not be a bad selling
Just
point.
an idea. Just an idea.
But
Crazy thoughts.
I would also never work at a store. That
No.
you
Oh, yeah,
carry a
I
certain
couldn't.
pistol. I'm like, oh, is this my duty gun? Do I have to? Are you issuing this to me? Do I take it home? Oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, I ain't carrying your shit. Like, either that or I have it unloaded in a holster and be like,
have the other
oh
one.
yeah, this piece of shit. I don't use that. I'll just pull out the one that I carry appendix instead.
But anyway,
yeah,
although I could never put an unloaded gun on me. That's just weird.
gay as truck nuts.
Stop. But all right, so we've been going for an hour and 15.
Yeah.
Andrew, we've had plenty to talk about, even though we had nothing planned to talk about.
Shocker.
Anything on your mind? Anything you want to get out to the Berm limits and bulletin audience? Things that you might got going on, like a big thing maybe coming up or anything.
Okay, so for me, new class is red dot pistol.
Ooh.
So here's the thing.
I heard you just taught that in Camden, Tennessee, right?
Yep. My second run of the class was at Tactical Response.
Yep.
I'm super happy with the curriculum. Normally, when you go take a red dot class, it's like, okay, how to find the dot when you draw the gun, and then a bunch of stuff about how to shoot good, which is important.
Yep.
It's good stuff. And then it's like later, how to actually use the dot.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like gone how to look at the target and use threat focus, how to find the dot, a little bit about grip, because that makes finding the dot on presentation a lot easier. Like if we can have the gun more aligned in our hands, and how to grip it, blah, blah, blah.
Grip it and rip it.
And then a little bit on trigger press, because you really notice what's happening with your trigger press on a red dot. And for many people, that's their first time seeing it. And then the one thing I've never seen in a red dot class is like some sort of ready or carry position, having the gun in there and finding the dot from up or down, or like a high pectoral or after a reload. Because you think about it, if you only learn how to find the gun on a draw stroke, like what about all the other stuff we do where we have a gun in our hands, right?
I like that.
So we went a lot, like I did that the first class, and that was the feedback I got was more of that. That was really important.
I like that.
And so that's been more of a focus in the class following on. And then we have a lot of shooting on the move, permitted we have enough time to do it all. But I got a real cool drill that I basically took a part of the Green Line Tactical Xbox drill.
Yep.
And I just kind of adapted a part of that into the drill I teach.
Yep.
And and I think that's super practical too. Because that's the other thing is like, okay, yeah, you got good at finding your dot and you're better at shooting. Like, let's see you do that while moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I have run that drill. It is
It's an ass kicker.
it is one of the things where like
Ass kicker.
you wouldn't think that you would be exhausted after running it, but I was exhausted after running
the
it.
Xbox or no, the one that you made.
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
read that.
Yeah.
Like it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You'll have to run me through it the next time.
Okay. Well, we probably do it on Saturday. Fuck, I should just do that for my class on Saturday. That'd be fun.
Hey, man, there's still time.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Mid-change.
Nah, it's the one I want to teach is more important.
Yeah. It's tough. You know, it's a sampler, right? You know, it's meant to be something that you can entice people with. They can walk away with a little bit of new knowledge.
Well, when you get to the red zone, just tell Dave, like, hey, Dave, sit down. I'm going to show everyone something.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
And this is, you know what? Here's me encouraging you, Andrew. Then when you're there, try to get a feel. Like if people are responding well to stuff, if they're interested in classes, like make sure you have an information sign up in your block of instructions so people can put their names on it. And what I will do is make sure that like, hey, if you give me that list, I will reach out to all those people. Like, hey guys, let's bring Andrew up for this class that you all heard a little bit about for this subject. And we'll get a range for you up here. We'll get people around. Like, we'll like that's what we should be doing is getting people excited about seeing you up here and these other trainers and stuff. And
so the plan too is that Lewis and I are going to teach an advanced red dot class.
Oh wow!
So I'm planning on doing it in Florida, and then if you guys got people who want to do it up here, that'd be cool as hell.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Like get people excited about it, introduce them to the concept, and then we'll
leave them a teaser.
We'll get you let's get a class going up here for you, man. There's a bunch of good people who train.
We're gonna schedule a patrolling class up here.
Yeah, we should.
Not during summer.
Yeah,
and
you know what it was? So having it so close to the muster and we had to switch some things around in scheduling, but Andrew and hopefully Jay will be back at some point to teach the patrolling the homestead
class that does not need you do not expend ammunition. Like it is.
I don't know if that's a selling or a non-selling point.
Well, it's like if we can shoot, we'll probably shoot.
Yeah,
but it's not about the shooting aspect.
Right.
Nope.
Like shooting is like the it's like that in that class. So, all right, there's no rule of law. No one's coming to help you. And you guys have to walk around with big guns and cool gear to keep your home safe now.
Sounds terrible.
And now we have to
Sounds
go
like the worst day ever.
From point A to point B without all of us dying. How do we do that? Well, we're going to have to patrol
the ones in red. Kill the ones in red.
What is that? Oh.
It's an inside joke.
Okay. Whoa,
sorry.
Careful.
Hello.
Careful,
Sorry. I'm used to
we got wires over here. Yeah, we're not very sophisticated on the other side of the table.
The red dot, advanced red dot class that Lewis and I are going to teach. Of course, Lewis is going to want to talk about Donut of Death the whole time.
Donut of Death.
There's a bunch of really autistic, in-depth red dot stuff that just doesn't really get talked about enough. What? It is.
Just
it's
the autistic.
You take the Connect consulting class. He's like, I'm about to get real autistic on this grip,
Nice.
But there's a bunch of really in-depth things, kind of like what we were doing today in class on the red dot that is hard and that you haven't considered. Like whenever I see someone post, should I get a green dot or a red dot? And I'm like, oh, dude, we could talk for a long time on this. But
I mean, whatever.
But it's like I can't
want
even
it to be blue.
I can't even type
Blue
it out
dot.
on the
Blue
computer to explain it. So it's like a thing you have to experience.
Yeah.
But that also there's when you take a red dot class, there's hardly any one-handed stuff. Okay, that's pretty important.
There's hardly any one-handed stuff in any pistol class.
Right.
There's lots of one-handed stuff. Anyway.
That and then so that's the new classes coming out. I have stuff in the works, but I want to just make that stuff happen and not talk about making it happen. So you watch my YouTube channel, you'll find out about it.
He's kind of an open book, folks.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of hard to miss him. Like if you follow his Instagram feed, which you should, it is entertaining. You should follow his YouTube page. It is entertaining, and you won't regret it.
Yeah,
just don't read the comments.
And then no, read them. I don't care.
Make sure you comment crazy
Join
shit on
them. But
feed the algorithm.
But then the other thing is, since I caught up on all my gear orders, now I'm just like I'm doing drops of like new stuff. So there's some cool new stuff that like I've already sold half of it, and there's no YouTube video about it. These guys have seen it, and if you're not coming. If you didn't go to Alumni Weekend at Tactical Response, you didn't come to my classes, or you are not at the muster, you have no idea what it is. Yeah. So it's like
you should be there.
Those are the people that I want to get the cool stuff first. And it's not because I don't like you guys. It's just the guys who are actually taking training classes. There should be some benefits to them. Yeah.
All you fuckers.
They also get discounts. So. That's pretty cool. But
some of us get the best discount.
Yeah.
For letting him stay in our house.
Yeah. But
picking him up from the airport at 2 a.m.
You didn't pick me up at 2 a.m.
Well, I got up to get him at 2 a.m.
Going to.
I woke up at 2 a.m. to pick him up from the airport, but then Mother Nature said no.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, and so new products are coming out, but it's like awesome. I'm not trying to be sewing all day. I'm trying to be instructing,
cool. Yeah.
But I do enjoy sewing. People love the gear I make, and it's a creative outlet, and it's a good way to be able to be at home with my family that I love, and provide an income. So that's something I'm not going to stop doing, but it's not my focus.
Nice, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's cut this thing off. We've been going. We're an hour and a half almost. And,
perfect timing.
Yeah, we're after a long day of training. We got another one tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we could do this all night.
Yeah, we could, and we will once the camera goes off.
I'm sure we will just keep going. But thank you, Andrew, for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Again on the podcast. This is like your fourth.
Who's more?
I want to record another one before I leave.
Gary's the only one that has more appearances.
I don't even know. It might be 4 each, but like you're now a regular.
Yeah, because he was down in Florida too with Turtle.
He did. He did the one with Turtle, and he did the one with Jay, and then he was on a remote one that we did. And then,
Gary, you need to stop slacking.
Yeah, like we should probably also make sure we branch out and bring in other minds instead of just the people that are our good friends. Or you know what? Screw it.
Fuck it.
I like having my friends over. That's the best part.
Yeah. I like talking to people that I know are just as engaged in life as I am or try to be. And that is something that across the board in our circle is very evident, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, with that, guys, we're gonna sign off, and until next time, get smart, stay ready, and find training.